Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Know How Nordonia session. Tonight we have a special guest. Her name, you probably remember her. She's a former Nordonia teacher. Her name's Annette Lang, and she is currently at Biomed Science Academy, which is a STEM high school based at the Neomed campus. She does a lot of cool things with her students at her high school. There's a lot of really innovative things going on. And I thought I would have Annette be our guest host tonight to kind of go through some different data collection tools. I know that's constantly a need. I'm hearing from teachers what type of resources can they use to collect student data, easily, that they can then analyze and take a look at. So Annette's going to talk a little bit about some different tools you can use and that type of thing, and then we will have some time for some questions and answers. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce Annette. And you won't actually see Annette because she's sharing her screen right now, but you will be able to hear her. Okay? So Annette, it's all yours.
Hi, I'm Annette Lang, and as Angela was saying, I'm from Biomed Science Academy. So we are one of 5 STEM schools in the state of Ohio, and we actually work with rural students. It's kind of our focus, which is kind of interesting. I have a link to our website available from the document that I'll be accessing and using tonight, and we'll get that up and going as well, so you can take a look at that. And if you want to know anything more about my school, you can take a look at it there. I think one of the most unique things about my school is that we are one-to-one, so our students each have their own computers. But what makes us a little different is that each student has their own computer. It's bring your own device. So our students are required to purchase a computer based on some specifications that we give them. So that's been a challenge for me as a technology teacher because students come with all these different devices and different software. So I need to be able to get data, and I need to be able to make sure that it works on all my students' devices. So everything I'm going to show you today is what we call browser-based. So you can look at it with any device. You can look at it with a phone, a tablet, anything that can access the internet you can use these devices with. So I've been trying to do a better job of forming my instruction based on what the students have been telling me. So I've been trying to gather data and actually change the way I teach a little bit. So if you'd like to look at this document, I've got a link to the document. There's the short URL right there, and we can also probably include that in the show notes. Is that correct, Angela?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, and you can see here is all my contact information as well. So follow me on Twitter if you'd like. I'm also, I tweet out a lot of articles about Google Apps for Education because in my Bring Your Own Device school, that's been a real lifesaver. Here's a little overview of what we're going to do today about gathering data with one-to-one. I'm going to go over Socrative, which is a tool that I've been using quite a bit, Kahoot, which is a really fun tool, and then if we have some time, I was going to go over some apps that I've been using as well to help my students stay focused, because when you are in a one-to-one school, it is easy for the kids to stray off and get on to some random site that you don't want them on. I thought I'd start today with Socrative, and you can see here, can join my classroom if you'd like. You just go to Socrative.com, and this is my custom room number. Anybody can join Socrative. You do need to make an account, but one of the biggest features that I like about it is that they can use their Google accounts. So as I mentioned, we're a Google Apps for Education school, so my kids all have a Google account. They don't have to remember passwords, they don't have to remember their usernames, they just click on their Google account and they can get in. What I wanted to do first is Socrative has this great little overview, and I think it shows you real quickly how you can, just gives you a little overview video of that, and hopefully this is going to play. Let me know if it doesn't, Angela.
I can see it, I just can't hear it.
Oh, well that's a problem. Let me unplug my headphones.
Let's see. Student answers in real time and provide data reports afterwards.
Okay.
Right from your teacher dashboard, you can start a quiz, do a quick question or polling activity, play a fun space race game, or do an out-the-door exit ticket. Quick questions are perfect for valuable no-prep activities. As students respond, the teachers can see in real time what the students are thinking. Have a discussion of the results or ask more quick questions. It's your choice. You can create your own assessments or share assessments with your colleagues and other Socrative users all around the world. As students take the quiz, you'll see their graded responses populate your live results table. Each column shows how the whole class is performing on that specific question.
So real quick, just to kind of give you an idea, what you're looking at here This over here on the right-hand side would be the device that the student's using. So right now they're just kind of showing it on a little iPad or an iPhone. And then this is what the teacher's seeing, or the teacher can have this up on a giant screen as well.
See which questions you need to go over with the class, or decide how to group students for review based on their results. Run your quiz as an exciting space race to create a fun assessment game that students can play in groups or individually. Students love the friendly competition, and you'll still receive the grade report at the end. As you can see, Socrative is a versatile platform with many great features to support your unique teaching style. We're here to help you save time and visualize student understanding. Be creative and have fun.
So I just thought that was a really good overview, better than I could have even done, I think. It just kind of gives you an overview of what the tool is. So again, you can create quizzes, you can ask questions on the fly. So some of the pros that I really like, again, is that I can use my Google Drive. The reports go directly to my Google Drive. I love this questions on the fly, and I'm just going to, I made a little screencast in my class yesterday. You can see I just put this up. This is my notebook software. So I've got up there, I just asked a little quick question. It just makes me laugh. Students still don't know when things are due. So I just wanted absolutely no excuses that everyone knows when this particular assignment is due. So I put that up on the board, and I can do A, B, C. And again, you can handwrite that as well on a regular whiteboard. And then the students can all answer, and they were able to see it live. And you can see right here, I have 14 students in the room, 13 to 14 students had answered. And I was able to get 100% confirmation. Now I wanted to ask them another question, so I clicked on Ask Another Question, and here I can actually type the question in. So what program do we typically use? Our students are making tutorials. So what program should we use to record our screen? And the students are typing in their answers. A great feature of this, especially if you're at the middle school, but even at the high school, yes, we still deal with this. Sometimes you get an inappropriate question pop up, especially if it's being up on the live screen. They like to have some fun. So you can immediately remove that at the end just by clicking the X there, and it will go away. So I think I even had one in there that I didn't like, so I just deleted it really quick. And another interesting feature too is that you can vote, and the kids can actually vote on the responses, which is kind of neat as well. You can see I have a little vote here. So if you're doing a discussion with your kids and you want to ask a question, and then you can have the kids vote on their favorite answer. And then when I'm finished and I want to record this, take back the answers so I know everyone, most students have done it. I can put that right in my Google Drive. I can email it to myself. I can view live chart, any of those features. So that was just a live thing, super quick, super easy, and zero prep time. I can do that on the fly and then record those results and keep it later. So those are a lot of the pros. Some other things you can do in Socrative, they have these quizzes that you can either upload via your Excel document, which I really like. They have a template that you can fill in. And the quizzes can be either self-paced or teacher-led. So if the students are in a lab situation or they're sitting there on their computers, you can just give them the link, they can start the quiz, and you'll get the results. And you actually will see live as the students are answering the questions. So you can see if somebody's struggling, you can go in. You can link that also to a special education teacher. So if a special education teacher could be watching and seeing the results without having to hover over the student, and then they can intervene if they need to, if necessary. And then you can also do teacher-led paced questions. So if you want to, again, do guided questions, what a great way to make your direct instruction a lot more interactive with the students and keeping them engaged. Again, I just haven't said my files are saved directly to Google Drive, and you can either publicly or private results. So I can either put the results on the big screen, or sometimes I'll run it on an iPad off to the side, so I'm just seeing the results and it's not up on the screen. And you do not need a projector with Socrative, and I know sometimes that's an issue. You might be in a lecture hall or in a different situation where you don't have access to a projector, so that is a plus. When you are using it, just a couple tips. You can create a customized room number. In that demo that I showed you, they had a really weird room number. You don't have to do that. You can go in really easily under your settings and change it to a custom. And we have a naming convention for our entire school, so the students know from classroom to classroom. It's just the biomed and then the teacher's last name. I recommend starting with quizzes because I thought the quizzes were a really easy way to start. For me, it was like low pressure, even less than the quick question, so I got used to the program. And then if you wanted to see an example of what the results look like, I have it linked there so you can see, and that's an actual Excel document. The exit tickets are pre-made for you too, which is great. Let me go to my Socrative right here. I'm live now in Socrative. So they have this exit ticket which asks 3 different questions right up front, and they're pre-made for the kids. So unfortunately, this is the teacher view right now, so I would see the 3 questions right here. And the first question is they ask them on a scale of 1 to 4 how well they understood today's material. Question 2, you can ask an open-ended question, and you can see here it can all be live, so you can finish it. So that's pre-made, and really all you do is hit that and then get your results. Interesting point with when you're getting your results, I always use the whole class Excel, but sometimes those parents want a paper copy of, because it was a quiz and they want to see it. So you can do individual students as a PDF, and then you can print that out. Or you can do a question-specific PDF, which is great for your assessment meetings that you might be having. And you can share these very easily from teacher to teacher so that everyone is taking the same quiz, and you can view your cross-grade information that way. So I like that a lot. So that's kind of, let's finish. The space race, they talked a little bit about that. So that's a little bit more high pressure, and you can group your students, and they can see how well and how quickly they're answering the questions. I can tell you I've never tried the space race. Typically when I'm doing quizzes, I want the kids to take their time, and I don't want to penalize students who can't read quickly. But sometimes I know if you're just doing a quick review, you might want to do that. Here's the quick question, and again, it literally is this easy. They tout that it's 2 clicks to get to it, so I can go quick question. And right now, if you were online, you would go to Socrative, you would go to my room. I don't have anybody in my room right now. You would type in Biomed Lang, and I could ask you a quick question, like what subject do you currently teach? And you would be able to type in the answer, and we would all be able to see those results right now. So the menu is where you access some of those things that things like changing your password, your building room name. So you can see here my room name is Biomed Lang. So that's just kind of hidden under this little menu under my profile. And I also do like this clear room. Sometimes my students will forget to leave the room when they go to their next class, so you can always clear the room, which is always great. Or if you've got somebody just being silly, you can always clear the room that way. So that's Socrative, just a quick little overview of that. They have some, I've got some information about the different quizzes there and how to do those. But their help guide, I thought, was just fantastic. It's a PDF document, and it will just really take you through step by step how to get started from registering. It's about 30 pages to setting up your first quiz, to go over all the different exit questions and all that. And there are tons of Socrative videos on YouTube as well. So I linked to a couple of those that I found. And there's the user guide I was just telling you about. Okay, so sometimes you need something that's a little bit more fun. And my kids have been going absolutely crazy with Kahoot. And this is something so easy and so great. It's something you want to try right away. So, Angela, I hope you can help me out a little bit here too. I'm going to have you kind of join in, and we're going to do this live, because a great way to see Kahoot is to actually try it out. So, and I've got step-by-step directions on how to create your own. So I'm just going to go to Kahoot. There's a couple different ways to go to Kahoot. I'm in teacher view right now, so I'm going to make a little Kahoot. So I've got this Docs Basics. I'm going to do that. So we're going to play this game that I have pre-made. So I'm going to ask you, Angela, to go to, and you'll see right here a website. You guys still seeing everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
Okay, so we are connecting. I don't know if you can hear the music. So it's got some fun little music there, and you can turn that on and off. So this number, this 809543, and I'm actually going to turn my volume down a little bit because the music is pretty loud. All right, so this number, this game pin, just so you know, every time you play, you'll get a new game pin. So I always thought, oh, here, I'll just give you the game pin, and no. So just know that every time you launch it, you're going to get the new game pin. So let's see. So Angela, can you join this game right now? You have to go to kahoot.it. Okay, so you can see Angela's here. And I'm going to try to do it as well on my phone. The nice thing about this, sometimes you get the kids will put some strange names in there. You can immediately click on them and kick them out, which is great. Very helpful. And I also tell the kids that I'm using this for a grade, so I need them to, just be realistic and put the real name in there so I can give them the credit for it. So I'm trying to multitask here. So really important, there's 2 different URLs here. You can see we have the kahoot.it. That's the one that the students have to go to put their game pin in. For me to actually make it, I have to go to Create Kahoot, and that's different. And it took me a minute to figure that out, but you just bookmark it, and then, or I actually just search. Am I in? I'm adding my nickname. Okay, so you can see there's 2 of us now in the room, and I'm going to go ahead and start it. This can be a custom photo if you'd like. I just didn't put one in. But you can see here I did use it. So what you can see here is we've got 7 questions. I've got a timer going, and what you can't see on Angela's phone right now, or whatever device she's using, she has 4 options on here. But there's no answers. It's just the triangle, the circle, the blue, or the green. And you have to click on the answer. So this right here, did you guess yet?
I can't see the questions. Hold on.
You can't see the question? Can you
No.
see it on my screen? You should be able to see it on my screen. Right
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
hey, the time, I didn't have enough time. I needed extended time in that.
So, Angela lost that question. So that is a really important point what Angela's saying. All she's seeing on her screen, so she has to kind of make her screen smaller, is the colors. She's just seeing 4 colors on her screen. So you have to have a projector to use this device. So we'll do one more question. And you can see here I'm in the lead with 667 points. It factors in how fast you answered it as well. So, I do like this one because I can add photos to it, which is a really big thing when you're trying to teach icons and things like that. And they get, oops, wrong answer. So you got to be real careful when you click, too, because I'll hear the kids scream going, oh, I answered the wrong thing. At any time you can end the question. For some reason my link isn't working, but Angela's worked, so I can end it early if I'd like. And you can change the length of time at the questions, but I like keeping it 30 seconds. It seems to keep it moving. So this was actually based a little bit on my HTML, so it creates an ordered list. Oh, I know why, because I was trying to do it. So sorry. I wasn't doing it on my phone. So now, Angela, did you answer that?
I did, but it was wrong.
So you didn't get any points for it.
But I did it on purpose. I answered wrong because I wanted to see what it did on,
So just like so I won, yay. Okay, not only is it just like there was only 2 of us, so we only saw our 2 results. The students will see their ranking within the class, which is pretty interesting as well too. So they're just really excited just to beat their friend. And then you can see I can get my feedback and results. The students will rank how well they like this particular game, if they thought it was fun or not. You'll get that information as well, how they're currently feeling, which I just think is funny. They have a good time with that screen. And then you can see now I can download my results. And this is new. This just added here. You can go right to Google Drive. And I can't tell you how many times they're like, we want to play it again. I'm like, okay. So you can see I'm just saving the results right to my Google Drive. And then I can take a look at that and just make sure nobody's falling through the cracks, and kind of a great little assessment tool. There's lots of Kahoots that are already pre-made too, so you don't always have to make your own. These are the ones that I've made so far, but you can see here's all the public Kahoots that you can see. And there's been some pretty interesting ones out there, and it's kind of fun too. I've been seeing people have been playing some of the ones that I've made too, some of my shortcut ones. So we're starting to get a nice little collection of different Kahoot questions out there. So feel free to go out there and start with one that's already made, but I guarantee you your kids will have an absolute blast with this. They do need to make an account. Your kids will need to make an account. Again, I just had them use their Google account username, and they were able to remember that, so when they go ahead and play it. It is a little, when you're making a new Kahoot, I'm just going to kind of go this really quickly with you. You can see there's a couple different options: quiz, discussion, and survey. If you don't like the timing and you don't want to do the timings, you can definitely do the survey and the discussion. And the nice thing about that is you're giving a live result. So once again, you're doing a quick check-in during a lecture. You can do a quick survey question, and the kids will see what's going on. But I gotta tell you, the kids just have an absolute ball with the quizzes. And we'll play it again. So you can see real quickly right here is my question 1. I can bold it, underline it. Look at math teachers. I can do little fancy symbols in there as well. Here's the time limit that Angela's mentioned. She's like, hey, that's really quick. Well, you can make it longer if you'd like. Here's where you can choose the file. So this is where I was choosing my documents, all my little image files that I had for my different iCuts. I have not experimented with this video. I mean, I think I tried it once, but for me, I'm just not using the video. But you can put a video file in there. So that would be interesting as well. So you can put your question here. And this is the weird part right down here. So you have previous, you have next, you've got delete question, add a question, duplicate, save, and continue. So you have to add a question, and you can see I didn't have any answers in there. So it will walk you through all the different steps here, and here's the 4 steps that you need to actually make the whole Kahoot. You can see, so here's test question 1. So I need to have at least 2 answers. So I've even had teachers who have a written test and they don't want to put it all in there, and they can just put A, B, C, D in there, and you can put question 1 in there and do that. Not as much fun. But. So right here, if I hit save and continue, it's taking me through the whole little test questions. So you need to add your questions in like this, and that just takes a little bit. So on the document that I made for you here, I kind of walked you through that process because I thought it was a little cumbersome. So here you can see your first step to make a new one. You just click on the new Kahoot, and then you can see how you can make sure you mark the correct answer, and then you have to make sure you hit the next question. And really, that is it. Making sure you're finishing it and final scoreboard and playing with it. This is an example of what the results look like. So this is an Excel spreadsheet, and again, how nice is that? Color-coded, conditional formatting. So at a glance, I can see which ones they're missing and who's missing it. So I can go and reassess those students directly, which is great before I get to the real final assessment. And I actually even linked to my Excel document, so if you wanted to see that, you can download it. I'm always asked how the points worked, and I never really figured it out until I went to the Kahoot site for this presentation. So you can see here there's a whole little frequently asked questions, and they talk about how you start with 1,000 Kahoots and then how quickly you answer the question. The interesting thing about this is my smart students will hardwire in. I have a couple drops in my room because if your internet connection is a little bit faster, you are going to answer the question faster. So there is a little unfair advantage there. So so remember that when you're doing that. The kid that's a little bit further from the wireless or has a poor connection, it might be at a little bit of a disadvantage, but they're okay with it. So those are the 2 big things. Kahoot is just an absolute hit. I have several teachers using that. Another little issue that I've been seeing people have, my students have, is staying focused. So I actually asked a couple of my students to do some research for me. And these are some Chrome apps / extensions, because they're both, to help you stay focused and help you keep on task. And so these are the ones that they liked. So this one always comes up, stay focused, and it limits the student's amount of time that you can be on a website. So if you're on, you can only be on Facebook for so long, or in my case, Twitter, and then it will boot me off and tell me that I can't go on for more time. The kids said that has been very helpful with them. Strict workflow, I started experimenting with this one. I like this one a lot because this one is called an extension, so it just ends up being right up here in my Chrome app. And what this one does is it makes you do that 25-minute, 5-minute rule break. And this has been really good for some of my my students that have focus issues. So they know they only have to focus for 25 minutes, and then they get the little 5-minute break. And what it does is it plays a little timer for you, and it counts it down. And we've been experimenting with that, and we're pretty excited about that. My intervention specialist is going to be putting that on all of our Chromebooks for those students. Momentum is a whole new desktop. Sometimes when you turn on your computer, and my students love sticky notes, they have sticky notes with all their homework all over their desktop. This is a new one, and you can see it actually changes your desktop, and it helps you focus on what you want to get done today. So I haven't played with that one too much, but the one student that researched for me said she liked it. And then we did experiment a little bit with Productivity Owl today. And again, we're probably going to be putting this more in our testing notebooks versus all your notebooks. You have to be a little bit careful with this. It will actually limit it will just, like she said, it was really fun. This little owl comes in and actually sweeps through and takes off the websites. So here's the allowed websites. This is a really cool idea, especially if you're trying to control where your students are going. So you can put in where they're allowed to go. You can block websites. And then if they try to go to those other websites, the owl comes in and takes it off and makes you stay focused. So that is a pretty cool new tool that we're playing with. So again, depending on what your goal is for that computer time.
Annette, I have a question.
Yes.
For that productivity owl, is
Yes.
that something, who sets up those, like, is it per account, or is that like an admin feature, or, I
Well,
mean,
it can be an admin feature, but it depends on the way your Chromebook is set up. So like we have some Chromebooks set up where the admin goes in and then she is going in and setting that up that way. But my students all have their own computers, so I can't do that on their computers. So again, my students are really learning how to self-govern themselves, and we talk a lot about this because some of my parents are like, well, my kid's on the computer for, several hours a night doing homework. And I'm like, are they really doing homework? And so we talk with our students about adding these tools, and then they find out that they're really wasting a lot of time on other websites. And we kind of smile with the parents, and I said, well, they're going to either figure this out now or they're going to figure it out their freshman year of college. So it's a lot cheaper for them to figure it out now and really get those good computer skills down. I don't know if you guys are using Quizlet or not yet, but it is just a fantastic tool that we've been using a lot at my school, and my students use it. Quizlet is an online quiz. I actually use this for myself when I studied for my praxis for my library. There's already some praxis cards out there that you can study, so it's great. My students, I actually paid for the upgrade so that I can add photos to it, but my students will create their own flashcards as well. You can see here I have classrooms, and the students make the flashcards and we can study them. The reason I like it is that not only is it flashcards, it is also the way students like to learn. So they have just typing it in by learning it. There's the speller if you're trying to do spelling words. Scatter is the favorite because my kids will obsess over this to see who could be the fastest, which, I mean, really, they're spending like tons of time studying because it's a game. You have to see who can do it fast. I personally like the race, so here, like my select all, you have to just drag it over, and you can see there's a little timer there. So you've got your control pace. So the kids that match it up, they absolutely love it, and it goes away when you've got it right, and it will show the high scores on that. The race is great if you're trying to work on your typing speed, which my kids in my classes are, so it's great. They have to actually type in the correct answers. But the flashcards are just straight up exactly like you see flashcards, and then as a student you can decide if you've learned it, if you want to keep it on there and do it more. So that's called Quizlet, and I like it because the kids, it's a social. Students can share the flashcards and create them. It's just kind of neat. And I can also, we are a Mastery Matters school, so our students retake their tests until they get a B or better. So I require that they log in and show me that they've had so much time and that they've actually studied this, and then they're allowed to take their test again. So that's great. But you can see they love their high scores, and they can see who's the champion, and they're very competitive, and I love it because anytime I can get them to study. So those are my big things. And then I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, okay, I've got all this data, now what? So using my wonderful EBSCOhost resources, I went on to Info Ohio, and I just found a really cool report on teachers and data, and it talks about how to use that data and some professional development ideas on how to use that data. So part 2 of this big research that I found I thought was pretty interesting. Now you've got data, what do you do with it? So that's kind of what I've got for you today. What are you thinking, Angela? Oh, did you want me to show my Google Classroom?
Yeah, yeah.
Finally, one-to-one school. We are in a college campus, the NeoMed college campus, and they give us our learning management tool called AIMS. It's also known as Sakai, which is a college-based like Blackboard kind of tool. So it's very comprehensive, but sometimes that's way too much, and I just need to do things well. Like, for example, we're going to be doing a PBL, a school-wide PBL, and this is cross-grade. So my students will be able to join my Google Classroom. You can see my Google Classroom is right here. I can assign assignments, and the best part about it is this is all Google. So when I create any of my assignments, my students can turn it in with a click of a button. It's literally turn it in, and it's automatically shared with me, because if any of you are using Google Docs right now and your student forgets to share, you can see it's very annoying. So to start my Google Classroom right here, my students will be joining this class by putting in that code and then seeing the assignment. And kind of how I started using this was with my resident educators. These are my teachers that are going through the Res Ed in Ohio. And you can see, instead of giving them everything that they had to do, I wanted to give them in small cycles, little assignments. So you can see here is the instructional planning cycle that I had to do for them January 30th. So I can see who has it done, who doesn't have it completed yet. You can see each student got a copy, so I made a copy of this document, and it was copied and put into their Google Drive automatically for them. So tons of great training out there on Google Classrooms. If you're not using it yet, I highly recommend it. It's a great tool. That's what we're up to right now.
And something else, I mean, to use Google Classroom, an idea would be if you're using Quizlet, or you're using Socrative, or you're using, even Kahoot, you can use Google Classroom to post that information. For example, if you're going to be using Quizlet, for a couple weeks as part of a unit, for vocabulary terms or something, you can post the information about Quizlet in Google Classroom as an announcement. And you can say we're going to be using Quizlet, and then you can even put the link to Quizlet on there and all that, and house that information there in the stream. You can also, in the About section, have a section of different resources that students can use to study. So you could have, here are some places to go where we can work on study skills and that type of thing, and you can post those different websites, for them as well. So I think integrating both of these would be a great way to kind of show that you can have different tools but have it all housed in Google Classroom for students to locate that information.
Absolutely, because we all know there's always at least one or two students absent, and our students, when they're absent, or even on our digital, we call them digital days instead of snow days, when our students are absent, we post our assignments in here, and our students can go online and do those assignments, and then I have got evidence that they actually went online and did the work. So it's a great tool, and I highly recommend it if you're doing, when you start getting into more and more online tools, you want to put it all in one place for your students. It makes it really easy for you and your students.
Mm-hmm. Now, Annette, I have a question about Kahoot. Do you think, because we will be going one-to-one, starting with third grade in our district, do you think that using Kahoot is something that's very doable for a third grade student?
Absolutely, because and again, I'm sorry, I should have had you hold up. You should have stopped screen sharing, but it's just color coded. It's 4 colors. So, and I think it will improve their reading skills, and they're going to want to, be able to read quicker. The one thing with Kahoot that I have found, though, which I think is pretty interesting, is I see my more reluctant learners, I guess, or if they're a little bit slower, I'll watch them because it's really evident on the big screens. You can see what color it is, because when you pick a color blue, your whole screen turns blue. So it's really easy to cheat. I mean, that's just it. That's all there is to it. So I kind of like it on smaller devices better, because it's on their phone and they can keep it close to them, and they can see, that you get a little bit better response. So keep that in mind. But boy, yeah, I think it's excellent for their mouse skills, so they're clicking on the colors. Even at the high school level, I'll get my kids they're like, I clicked on the wrong thing. So I really like that processing speed that it takes, and it's just fun. But everybody knows their students, and I do have some students that just cannot handle it. And you can turn the timer off, which I think is huge. But some of my kids just can't handle the timing aspect of it. It drives me crazy.
Okay. All right, very good. Lots of good information. Um, and Annette, how do you learn about all these tools? I mean, what's something that you do as a learning professional to kind of stay up to date with this type of stuff?
I'm not sure. Let's see if I can get. I am, and unfortunately, this program it's called Zeit, and it was bought out by Flipboard. So you may want to just go ahead and start with Flipboard, but I just have better results with my Zeit tool. And what this does is this allows me, it creates like a custom magazine for me, so that I can see articles specifically on ed tech. So I might be, I've got 5 minutes, and I'll hop on there and I'll take a quick look at an article and read about it. Because I never read, I used to have Google Reader, and I just never used it because it was like, I just didn't like the way it looked. this to me works on my phone and it looks like a magazine, so I love that. And then the other tool I do is I do a lot of I use Twitter. I can't believe the fun things I found on Twitter. Just a quick little glance on that, I start following some interesting people. And the best place I have found to find people to follow is at conferences, going to conferences. I just can't say enough for going to conferences. I go to ETech. I go to the OLMA, the Ohio Library Educational Conference every year. Going to be going to the conference here in Beechwood that we're going to, right, Angela? We're going to be presenting at.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
those little conferences that you can go to, and it's just amazing the things you pick up. But I definitely have a professional learning community out there on Twitter that I can go to, and just I know if I follow these people. I found Kahoot on Twitter. I found our Sphero balls, which are these really cool robots that we're using. I found that on Twitter. And the nice thing about Twitter is that it takes me a minute to look at it, just glance at it, see what's interesting on there and going on. So I'm not sure if my Spheros will come up here or not, but so yeah, it's just for me that's where I'm constantly doing it. And then also I'll put it out there, like I just said, my students were the ones that found out that went and found these apps for me. The students will tell you too. It's amazing how much they'll pick up and learn. Students will make Kahoots for me, although I found their answers were pretty bad, and I pretty much have to go back in and make my own answers. Making multiple choice questions can be tricky. So if you provide it to them, I have student aids, and they'll make those for me as well. And tapping into those resources.
Okay, very, very good. And a fun fact about Annette is that she once put something out on Twitter and Shakira followed you. Or Shakira, what did she do? Like, favorite it?
She favorited my tweet, so I was like, it was pretty remarkable. So I was pretty.
Well, yeah, and then she said, who's Shakira? She texted
Yeah,
me.
I didn't know who she was. Yes, you're right. I didn't know who she was, so I had asked the students who she was. I'm like, why is this person who has 1 million followers? She just favorited my tweet. So that is really, for some reason, I get like we just did. We have a 3D printer at our school, and one of my students, her glasses broke, and so one of the students actually went into the 3D printer and designed an arm for it and printed it out for her so that she could have her glasses until her new ones came in. And I took a picture of that and put that out there, and MakerBot favorited that. And once again, there we are getting recognition from these companies all over. So I think it's really important that we educate the public about what we're doing in school. They do not have any clue how different school is from when we went, and the technology that the kids are expected to know and need to know.
Yeah, I totally, totally agree. I totally agree. All right. Well, Annette, thank you so much for your time and for coming and being one of our guests. And if anyone ever has any questions about anything, feel free to email Annette about any of the apps or anything that she shared today, and she will definitely get back to you. I will post the link to that Google Doc with all that information along with the video link. So it will
And
all
make
be
sure you
in
follow
one
me on
spot.
Twitter at Miss A Lang, because right now I'm beating Angela with followers. I want to keep that up.
Yeah, uh-huh. That's okay. It's all right. You can beat me. That's fine. So yes.
Thanks.
So she's beating me by like 50 or so, but that's okay. So yes, I will put the links up. So you will do that. Follow Annette on Twitter, and thank you again, Annette, for your time for joining me on this cold January Thursday evening. And until next time, Nordonia, we will see you again. Bye.
Bye.